This is Stephanie, and this is the Mocha Minutes Podcast. Hey guys, before we get into the episode, I just want to let you know about something that's a little new here at the Mocha Minutes Podcast. We are now participating in Buy Me a Coffee. So if you haven't heard, buymeacoffee.com is a place where you can show some support and some love monetarily to some of your favorite content creators. That includes me. So it's in the increments of either $1, $3, or $5, and you can do as many as you would like. So I just wanted to let you guys know, would love some support. So if you would go to buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. It will also be in the show notes. Okay, here we go. Now I don't have to question where you were last night.
Sing, girl.
'Cause I already know what you will say. I already know you lie. But I can't be mad at you. 'Cause there's something that you don't know. That when you're gone, I do my own thing. Can I catch a bone while you're dogging me? When you're out in the club, don't think I'm not. Even when you're out making love, don't think I'm not. When you're feeling good in somebody's spot, getting hot, don't stop. Just don't think I'm not. 'Cause I'm feeling up. When you're out in the club, don't think I'm not. Even when you're out making love, don't think I'm not. When you're feeling good in somebody's spot, getting hot, don't stop. Just don't think I'm not, 'cause I'm out getting mine. I haven't sung in a couple of episodes. Welcome to the Mocha Minutes Podcast. This is Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me. I get it, y'all, when y'all be saying this stuff about Candy. Let me tell you something. I love the Candy, not Candace Burris. I love Candy. That's one of my fave songs from her, and I kind of wish she had sung it at BravoCon. I said it.
That would have been amazing.
It really would have been, but thank you so much for joining me. And the voice that you are hearing chiming in, this is my girl, Nyemade, aka that African butterfly, black butterfly.
Hey, y'all.
Nyemade, welcome to the Mocha Minutes Podcast. It's like, we have recorded, we have talked, we've been in Clubhouse where it's like, she's never been on a show? How?
I know, but I'm very excited.
That is my error, clearly. How are you today?
I am good. It's been a busy day. It's been a good day. The sun's shining, so you can't be too mad at it.
You can't. Let sunshine. That's how I feel after the third part of the reunion is over. Y'all, I've had some great people to join me to talk about this reunion, and I feel like we could not conclude the reunion recap without Nyemade, because I'm telling you, Doogie needs some allies. Doogie been having her fans look at, they've been down bad. I feel like girl. So I brought Nyemade here so we can talk about part 3 of the reunion. Nyemade, as a Kyle, aka Doogie fan, what grade would you give your girl?
Oh, what grade would I give? It's a hard one because, like, the thing is, I'm a Kyle fan, but I'm not one of those blind loyalists. You know what I mean? Like, I'll call my girl out when needed, and this season has needed some calling out. So if we are rating just the last part of the reunion, I'm going to give her a B-.
Okay. That's still not a bad grade. I will say that's still not a bad grade.
It's not a bad grade. It definitely could be better, but I have to also put in there that, like, especially because I suffer with mental health stuff as well, I always give her a little bit of leeway for her anxiety. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, I have anxiety too, but unless you like have anxiety, you don't quite know how bad it is. So I give her a little bit of leeway for that. Like when she's like, I can't speak, like I know I've been there before, you know?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, there are some parts where I'm like, girl, you could have been a better sister in that moment, unfortunately. So that's where the grade dropped for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, whew, see, this is what happens when you're a fan of someone and they have not a stellar reunion and you have to go, oh, my girl down bad because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I'm kind of feeling about my girl Quad. She got it, she got it. But I'm like, I can't rock with you on certain things, but I'm like, I'm gonna stick beside her because that's my girl. Okay, Miss Quad, she got it, she got it. So I get it because I feel like last season, um, I feel like I was giving so much grace to Erica and the thought of, I don't think she planned this caper allegedly with Tom Girardi. But then my grace for her ran up at the reunion because she like literally was like playing in my motherfucking face.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, I'm good on you now. This reunion for Kyle, I will say, I have been there when it's like I just got a lump in my throat. I can't talk. It's going to squeak out. It's going to come out in just tears and snot bubbles. I just don't have anything to say. So I will give Kyle that grace on that. I didn't think that we was going to get mean old white lady from Kathy Hilton. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It can come towards Brenna. I'm like, I'm fine with it coming towards Brenna, quite frankly. It's like, I get it. I'm good for mean old white lady against Erica and Lisa. I'm like, I'm so here
Yeah.
for it. I'm so here for it. I'm like, nope,
Well,
I only want to see it.
here's part of what makes it hard, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
because you have friends and you have siblings. And because
Yes.
I'm very close to my siblings, I also view like the sister relationship a little bit
Mm-hmm.
different.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to, in all fairness, because on my show when we did a recap of New Jersey, I dragged Teresa for letting someone call her brother, what was it, like a bitch
Mm-hmm.
boy or
Yep,
something.
yep, yep,
And
yep.
like, you don't just sit around and let people talk about your siblings like that.
Correct.
So, keeping that same energy, you don't just let someone sit there and call your sister a liar and all of those things. You stand up for them. But,
Correct.
and like for me, that's on the sister side of it. But then I feel like at the same time, and I think this is what put Kyle in a tough position,
Mm-hmm.
is that Kathy has a history of really cutting Kyle off when she's upset with her. Like,
Correct.
forget the fact that Kyle is the youngest. I think we have to keep in mind that Kathy didn't speak to Kyle for 10 years because she didn't like
Correct.
that she was doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm sitting here and I have my friends who, by the way, were with me during those 10 years, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have my sister who's already mad at me, who I know will cut me off, the minute I do something wrong, it
Mm-hmm.
makes it a little bit harder for me to say, like, and especially if you know your sister is capable of defending herself, I
Right.
think it puts her in a position of being like, am I going to make these friends extra mad? Because people are on the social bubble being like, oh, they must have something on Kyle, that's why she's not saying anything. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
that they have anything on her. I think that they were the people who were there for her when Kathy left her high and dry for whatever reasons, and so
Yeah.
she's hesitant to really tarnish those friendships, because what if Kathy does it again? Now she's cut off her friends and she doesn't have her sister. So like for me, that's kind of how I view it. But then I still go back to, like, it's your sister, and if she's not a liar, but I don't know, maybe she doesn't know that. But if she's not a
Right.
liar, you say something, you stand up for her. And I think people kind of want this blind loyalty that Kyle doesn't really give, and we've seen it before, like with Lisa Renna. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's something that she's not capable of doing, maybe when
Mm-hmm.
she feels like the person can defend themselves, but then she wants it for her, and that's what makes it, I would think, hard being her friend and being with her. Like, don't expect me, like, we saw it with Dorit and Erica, where she was like, how could you sit there and hear her say those things and not say something? It's like, well, apply that same rule to yourself when someone's saying something about your sister.
Correct. See,
So it's just the hot pot. It's like just a whole webby mess of things. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
it's like it's literally a lot of stuff happening at the exact same time. Because my
Mm-hmm.
thing, I agree with you when it comes to the sibling thing, because I like my case study was always, Teresa and Joe. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I maintain this and I do. It's like nobody should feel so comfortable to talk cash money
Mm-hmm.
shit about your sibling in front of you. They should
Facts.
never feel that comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And it's like, but like with Teresa and Joe, it's like y'all friends did it to each other. So it wasn't just on one side over the other. I'm like, you let them talk about your sister, you let them talk about your brother. But honestly, nobody should feel comfortable enough to feel so they can literally, like, I can say this about your sister and you ain't gonna say nothing. I'm like, and bitch, you thought news. It's
Right.
like, no, you shouldn't, like, never. And the thing about it is, it's like, Rena, Little Miss Gaslighting, Little Miss Own It. Why are you doing this? Because one, I could not sit there, no matter what happened between me and Kathy. I could not sit there and see my friend in literal, like, she is shaking from anxiety and tears, her face all red. I
Mm-hmm.
would be like, girl, I'm like, not say I'm dropping it here. Bitch, you should have dropped it before.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the whole other thing. Like Lisa Renna, she's a whole nother thing. Like she should have dropped it for the sake of her friendship. And I think she
Correct.
really showed that she's not a loyal friend. Like for her, the takedown of Kathy was more important than the friendship of Kyle. Because at the end of the day, even if Kathy said all those things, even if
Correct.
she said all those things, if it is affecting your friend, and if your friend doesn't want it out there that badly, then you let it go. Even if at first she did want it, even if at first she was like, I'm glad someone else is seeing how bad Kathy can be. Because I do think Kathy has pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get to that later. But like I don't think she's Miss Innocent. But if your friend says, drop it and this is hurting me, then you drop it. But Rena wasn't capable of doing that because she wanted the takedown so bad. And that's just being a bad friend.
Correct. Correct. And it's like, these ladies are not your friends. It's like, why are they making it a point to, we gotta take down Kathy? I'm like, why'd you try to take down your friend's sister? And the thing that is really getting me on Kyle's face is that the reason she's not saying too much outside of like she can't talk because she's anxious is because on some level, and I think this is her sitting with herself, she believes them. You
Right. No, that's yeah,
believe them. It's
absolutely.
like,
Yep.
girl, you gonna have to like reconcile that with your own self. That
Mm-hmm.
you were like, because of the knockdown, drag out fights that you have gotten into with your sisters, because there's
Yep.
a level that sisters can go to that
Yeah.
may seemingly be low out if y'all were just friends. That sisters
Mm-hmm.
is like, oh no, girl, this is par for the course. It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to sit with, I don't think Lisa is lying. And you gonna have to reconcile with that. And on Kathy, she's like, why would you think that I would be that terrible? I'm like, because y'all have had those kind of arguments. You stop
Right.
talking to her.
Right. Well, and that's what I was saying. Like, Kyle's not going to defend something that she doesn't believe in. And the reason why she's not, like, I truly think, and we've seen it before with Kyle, even when it's wrong, if she truly believes someone or the person's like, she feels like she needs to back them up, she will,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not going to say it if she doesn't believe it. And I think, though,
Mm-hmm.
that Kathy knows that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why Kathy is further upset that she's not defending her. But like you said, I think they've had horrible fights. And so I think she does totally believe them. And so while Kathy is looking for her blind sister loyalty, at least in the
Mm-hmm.
public eye, Kyle's not giving it because Kyle's like, I know she says terrible things. So I'm not going to sit here and say I know Lisa's lying when I don't think Lisa's lying.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's like, she doesn't think. So when saw like the previews for the episode, I thought it was like top of the hour. We getting Kathy. We didn't. We got to hear that Erica got some dick the night before. It's like, girl, we don't care what goes in your hoo ha. I
Yeah,
promise
yeah.
you, we don't care. We also find out that Sutton and Sanjit, or Sanjit, as she likes to say, they are just friends, and she still has that pussycat sweater. She still got that pussy sweater. Vanderpump got a pussy bow, and she got a pussy sweater.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then we touch, and I'm gonna say touch because it's like a lot of things. I'm like, we need a further discussion about this. We lightly touched on Garcelle confronting Erica about how she treated Jax. Now the thing about it is like we have gone into detail about a lot of things, but for some odd reason, we're not going into detail about how the fuck Erica has been acting this season. Because when it wasn't just it wasn't just Jax. One, he's a child, so that should have been the biggest thing. You said something to Oliver. You came after Crystal, Garcelle, a little bit after Dorit, most notably Sutton. You've been going after a lot of people, and there was no package about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
ma'am, you are mixing alcohol with medications, and you're coming after people. And you were so, even when they did the whole thing about throwing away the book, it was like that was lightly touched on either. I'm sorry. Garcelle, and it's like, I feel so black saying this. Garcelle better than me because I'd have cussed that ass out. It's like I would have like literally sat myself like right on the edge. Let me explain
Well, they do
something to
not know how
you.
good they have it with Garcelle. They
Girl,
think
y'all,
Garcelle's hard. Like, put some of the other
Garcelle
ladies
is
on that cast
better.
and treat them the same way. They
Mm-mm.
would be tore up.
Like, I'm sorry, I would have slid forward like I'm Dr. Wenday. Fuck these motherfucking cameras. Do
Right.
not ever in your blonde ass life ever talk to my child ever again. Don't you
I feel
ever
like they
mention
need
a
like,
word to me. Do not mention Jax. Jax been that
mhm.
the only Jax you should know is Jax Taylor. He not even on Bravo anymore. That's the one you need to talk to. Don't ever talk to my child like that. Ever.
I feel like they need a dose of like ratata Candace,
Ra-ta-ta-ta.
like
It's
someone like they need a little bit of Candace to help them realize that they're not as bad as they think they are.
I'm going to say, not today, Satan. Not today,
They
neck.
neck.
Not today, ankles. I said, girl, shut up. This is so funny. I love it so much.
It's hilarious, but people are gonna. I mean, I'm anti-body shaming, and so I wish you wouldn't go there. And people are gonna go there with her, but it's still kind of funny because that's just Candace,
Right. Because one is like the first thing about Giselle's neck, I'm like, that's not the first time. It's like everyone's like, y'all
I
always
know.
talk about her neck. I'm like, wait, what the hell? What y'all talking about? What
Poor
neck?
thing.
It's like what? So we get the very light, and when she said Jax wasn't singled out, I don't think I said that. I said, why are you saying that to a child?
Right.
And Dorit, I'm glad she dug in Dorit's ass too. It's like
Yeah.
Dorit, oh, I said, bitch, no. You're like, he's getting flowers for his mama. I'm like, girl, fuck you. And Garcelle was correct. Let that happen with her child. This will be
Oh
a
my
different
goodness.
conversation. You would
Can you
call her aggressive.
imagine?
They would have lost that shit if Garcelle
Yeah.
had did that to one of their children.
And I like that Garcelle was like, because Kyle was like, well, I didn't even see it. I just heard it. And Garcelle
What
was
the
like,
fuck
well,
were y'all
what would have
laughing
been
about?
funny anyways? Like, why would it have been funny to hear that someone said that to, and I mean, whatever. I get they were drinking, but it's still not okay.
It's not right. I was mortified. Okay,
Yeah.
then Kyle turned to Garcelle and said, I've already apologized to you, but let me apologize to you publicly.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Right.
I'm like
Yeah. Instead, she
Mauricio's
was just
not
kind of like,
here.
oh, my bad.
Right.
My bad.
But like, and the thing, and it's interesting because we didn't see the husbands this year, but yeah, we don't need to. It's like
Yeah.
it's not necessary. But it's like you could have like turned him like I did it privately, but I'm also going to apologize publicly. I'm so sorry. Mauricio's not here, so I'll apologize for him too. We are so sorry. We were dead wrong to do that, and we are sorry.
Yeah,
That's
because
it.
saying like, oh, we saw it and we shouldn't have done that is not the same as saying I'm sorry. Like,
It's
yes,
not.
they acknowledge that they
Mm-mm.
shouldn't have done it, but it's not the same as saying we apologize.
Right. It's like that's not the same. I'm mortified. You should be mortified. Where the fuck is my apology?
Right.
I'm like, what? And then they go into Erica and her win because one of her 75 5011 lawsuits were thrown out.
I do have to say, with the lawsuits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of like with you. So with I've always been a friend of Erica, and I do think a bunch of people turned on her more than they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially feel that way considering how many people haven't turned on Jen when
Correct.
Jen is the actual criminal in her situation,
Correct.
allegedly. Well, not even allegedly. She pled guilty. So yeah, when she's the actual criminal in her situation, it's just unfortunate that Erica's stance on it is so cold and harsh. It's what turned people away from her. And what she should have done, instead of being like, oh, I welcome your questions, and then biting people's heads off when they ask questions, she should have just said, I can't talk about it. I can't, and I won't talk about it. But instead, she welcomed it and then flipped out. And they made her look bad to everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of like asking Ebony, an educator, to educate them and say, "Why the fuck are you educating us?"
Or
Bitch,
that
didn't
part.
y'all say? Scary, shut the hell up. I'm like, well,
Right.
you're gonna have to educate us. Oh my God, we didn't mean that for
Why is she always
real. It's
lecturing
like,
us?
what?
Oh, because you told her to. You told
You
her to
told
tell
her
you.
to. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm like, y'all do realize y'all the ones who said do it.
Yep.
She didn't just do it because she wanted to. She did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she walking. I gotta walk in and teach you white ladies about blackness. That's not what happened. So I'm like, why, Ramona? Why are you acting like that? Nope, not gonna
Right.
go on rolling because, oh, girl.
That's a whole nother one. Yeah.
It's a whole nother thing. So you see Erica having this back and forth with Andy about these earrings, and everybody. It was really funny. Dorit was like, "I would want nothing to do with this." I'm like, "Yeah, um, this is why, Erica. All of that smoke you gave to Sutton, you could have gave to Dorit, and you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You only went after Sutton. Please don't think that Sutton was the only person." And the bad part about it, I'm like, "Did you watch the show?" Because I swear I was like, why are we not mad at Dorit? Erica, why are you not mad at Dorit? Because Dorit was also the person like, this is just terrible. And how can we? I'm like, y'all let Sutton fall on that sword by her lonesome, and y'all acted like she was the only person who had an opinion.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that was not cool. So to watch Dorit go, oh, I know. And so when she's going back and forth with Andy about the earrings, yeah, for legal reasons, bitch, he's saying the
Yeah.
same damn thing and you know it. It's like, for legal
Right.
reasons, we're going to appeal. I'm like,
But I mean, she should have
girl,
just kept that energy from the beginning. And
correct.
and I also find it, well, so I find the fandom of Bravo very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And not even necessarily that it's Bravo, it's that with everyone.
Yeah.
But I sort of like dissect it, and as I watch it, it's
Mm-hmm.
very fascinating to me how people will say like they're such a fan of someone, but then like that person can say one thing that they don't like, and they're like, I don't care for that person ever again. It's like, were
Mm-hmm.
you ever really a fan? But then they'll have people who they're fans of who then they can't acknowledge do anything wrong. That's a whole
Mm-hmm.
nother
Honey.
troublesome group. Um, and it's
Honey.
interesting to me, like with the Erica situation of it, like Erica's been cold hearted kind of from the beginning. That's her thing, right? Like she's the ice
Mm-hmm.
queen. So, like, how have
Mm-hmm.
you been saying you're friends with her or you're a huge fan of her this whole time? But now in this situation, you want her to be a completely different person than who she's been. So now you're no longer a fan of her. It's like that doesn't make sense to me,
That
you
does
know?
not make sense because I always was like, oh my God, she's so cold. I'm like, she's
Yeah.
been like this since day
And
day
people
one.
loved it about her. They
What
loved
did
it.
y'all think the ice queen was going to do? Melt?
Right.
Absolutely the fuck not. She was not. So I didn't
She's going
expect
to
her
get
to do it.
colder and harsher to protect herself
Correct.
even more. I mean, she didn't do herself a favor with some
Nope.
of the things she was saying, but I still got what she was saying. You know, like I don't really, and I haven't really thought of her as the villain in all of this because I never really thought that Tom would have told her what was going on. Like he's just
Right.
not the type, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So I figured that she, like, I'm not surprised she's getting cleared because I figured she would be. But I also think
Mm-hmm.
that in the court of public opinion, she did herself no favors by what she was posting. Like she should have just checked off social media for a
She
year.
literally should have just taken that shit off because she's like, I'm not going to get tried in the court of public opinion. You're on reality TV. That
Right.
is the court of public opinion. What
Yes.
are you talking about? But you didn't mind the court of public opinion when it was in your favor. Now
Right.
you want to have a discussion about,
Right.
oh, this, like, no, don't come after me. I'm like, but
Mhm.
when everybody was living for you and how you acted, you didn't mind the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Now that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you are like a raggedy heifer for the way that you're acting. It's like, do not judge me. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut
Yeah. And
the hell up.
if I was her though, I really would be quite upset at the way things are being handled with Jen versus the
Mm-hmm.
way things are being handled with me. Even like the reunion, Jen didn't get grilled half as much as Erica did.
She did not.
But I also think Jen didn't say she welcomed it. I think the problem was because Erica knew she was innocent, she reacted different than someone who would protect themselves if they were guilty. You know what
Correct.
I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think if she had known she was guilty the way Jen knew she was guilty, Jen's not going to invite you to ask questions because you know she has to lie because she knows she's guilty. Like, but Erica's like, I didn't do anything wrong, so ask me so I can tell you I didn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
wrong. But that's not the way it works. But luckily, the court of public opinion also has a short attention span. And
Correct.
if there's one thing I've learned from reality TV is if you wait it out, they'll come back to you. They'll come back. They'll be back on her side again.
Correct. Because the thing about it is like I said that last year. I'm like, I want to see if y'all going to keep this same energy with Jen Shah. And I'm like, people aren't going to keep that same energy. It's like, and there are victims to her crimes allegedly. I mean, she copped a plea deal. I still don't want to get sued, but there's like, there is still victims attached to it. And the thing about it is, I don't like being right about that. I'm like, I knew they weren't going to keep the same energy.
Of course not.
I knew it. And it was kind of like, not that I want some Asian woman being attacked, because I know for women of color, we get attacked, and then there's also like a different magnifying glass as well. So it's kind of
do you
like
think Jen has been hard? Do you think Jen has been treated harsher?
No, I'm saying like usually women, like when you see these crimes, women of color get judged harsher. In this situation, we don't, which is why I'm like, I see that y'all not doing it. And it's like, I know typically this would be the other way around. I'm not asking you to come after this Asian woman right now. I'm actually not asking you to come after her.
Even though I guess she got canceled from BravoCon, and then someone said something about it being color and she liked it. And that is one of my main issues with Jen. She always aligns herself.
She will weaponize
her,
it so
with
quick.
Her minority whenever it's to like weaponize it. Yeah, whenever she wants to lean into a stereotype, like, oh, I'm really an angry person. You're just saying that because I'm dark. No, girl, we're saying that because you're screaming your head off in a public place.
No, like, girl, because you just literally busted a glass in front of somebody. Yes. No, girl, that's not why we doing this.
Something wrong, whenever she does something wrong, she's literally the definition when people say like, don't pull out a race card. She is what not the rest of us who are trying to like make legitimate points. She pulls out the race card. That is an example of pulling out the race card.
The whole deck of race cards. It's like, hold on, let me just. I'm like, girl, shut up, Miss. Silencing me is like putting a knee to my neck, baby. I ain't forgot that shit. And she's like, y'all, that was from last year. You mean a few weeks after this man was murdered? You do realize that makes this just a little bit
worse. And because she doesn't like attribute her greatness to her blackness. You know, she's not like, I am a queen because I'm dark. I can't even say blackness. She's not black. She's Asian. She's Asian. There, but she always makes it like she is because she has a black husband. And it's like, you're not though. Like, you don't know.
You are not, actually. Girl, shut the hell up.
Like, stop that.
Get out of my face. I swear she does this thing where it's like, it's like, Lord have mercy. I'm like, girl, what is wrong with y'all? So then we, after this little wording, semantics ping pong, not even Wimbledon, ping pong, because I'm like, Andrew, just drop it, because one, this is what Erica does. For legal reasons, I'm like, girl, I'm a whole ass adult. I get it. No lawyer worth the billable rate is not going to appeal anything if they don't win in court. Girl, we know that. But baby, look at the optics of you fighting to keep these earrings so bad because you're like, I sucked this old man's dick for like an amount of years, and so I deserve some earrings. Girl, you ready to part with a whole house.
Like, let it go. I wouldn't even want them as a memory. Forget that I've had them for 15 years. Like, unless they were like the earrings given to me when I birthed a child, which they are not, because they did not birth any child together. Like, I'd let them go and be like, goodbye, bad memories. And they're not even like especially special. They're just square diamond earrings. Like, get another pair.
Expensive, because I'm like, it's bad enough. His side chick was like, this is all he gave me. Y'all can have it. I don't want nothing to do with. And the thing about it is, Erica, that's the optics we're talking about. It's not that we're like, oh my God, just strip her bare because she's a part of this. I'm like, you benefited allegedly from something that he did. You don't.
Those are literally blood diamonds.
You don't know. It's like, that's the thing. You're like, it was a gift to me, but you don't know what money he used to get those gifts. That's the whole thing. No one is saying that you are in charge or you were like his Natasha to his Boris. Nobody said that.
Nope. But it's like, at the end of the day, if you know they were gotten through ill gains, you shouldn't even want them, right? So like, while we can sit here and defend you that we don't think she knew, but we do know that you know now. We do know that now you know that they were gotten with money from bad things. So now you should want to give them up. If anything, you should be like, I want to sell them and directly donate the money to the victims.
That's all you had to do. It's like, no, not Diane and this alleged charity to raise money. Ma'am, you apparently got more money than God. You could have just gave some money.
They could have. But you know, rich people, they give money only in ways where they'll get it back.
Girl. Stunts and shows. I get it. It's like, okay. So also the discussion about, because we're leading up to Kathy, but for some odd reason, Kathy's outburst is unjustified, but Erica's outbursts, plural, on camera are completely justified by the Fox Force 5. Oh, I was angry. Yeah, because Kathy, like, no whether you reflected or accepted not, her being angry, there's no justification. Erica can be angry because she's handling this poorly, and people are like, girl, fuck you. And she's like, no, bitch, fuck you. Fuck you.
Right.
How about that?
Well,
it's like, girl, what?
I think it's two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think on some level, Renna does think she's doing Kyle a favor by showing that Kathy has a nasty side, because some of us can see it, but a lot of people can't see it. Like a lot of people forget, the whole putting Paris in the schools, and a lot of people forget that her whole saying like, I would, sue anybody. Like there's a not nice side to Kathy. Everyone kind of has that, but a lot of people are like bamboozled by the hunky dory. Not that I think she's a horrible person, because I do think that she probably does have some very nice, people wouldn't like her if she wasn't nice. But I do think that underneath it all, especially if you know about the family history and how they were raised, like there's also a not nice side. So I think
stuff in the book. It's a book out there. So
the whole book out there. So I think on some level, Renna thinks she's doing Kyle a favor. But then at the same time, it's hard to watch her be so damn dramatic. Like, I have PTSD. I was terrified. Girl, we saw you break a glass at a table in a restaurant. You broke a glass
in Kim's face.
But you were terrified because of what Kathy said. You can sit through Erica's rages, but you're terrified at what Kathy said. And like, I can understand if you have someone who you're used to always seeing a certain way, cool, calm, and collected, and then they lose their shit. Yes, it is startling to you. Yes, it is upsetting to you. But really, weeks later, you're still upset. You have to leave someone's birthday party because it's so upsetting for you to see them. Like, come on.
It's like, girl, are we on Days of Our Lives right now? What are you doing? Because I'm like, Renna, who are you trying to convince? Yourself, or you trying to convince Kyle? Because I'm sitting here like, it's very interesting. Everybody went out of their way to tell Crystal how she should use her words and how she should feel. She shouldn't say this about this person, that person, this, that, and the third. But y'all literally are not policing Lisa and the words that she's using. Saying that Kathy Hilton is abusing you is a very big word.
Okay, thank you so much, because I didn't want to be that person, because I feel like I always get on like my mental health soapbox, but I'm like, you can't just say that she's abusing you, or that you have PTSD. Like those are real things, and you're just throwing these things around like, oh, I'm going to get cancer. Like you're looking up the most dramatic way to describe everything, and that's a lot. And like, yes, I know I defended Crystal for saying she felt violated, because that makes sense in that situation. And honestly, I would even defend Lisa if she really did say like, I felt like abusive language was being used. But the thing is, nothing was directed at Lisa. If Kathy had freaked out at Lisa, and Lisa said, I felt like I was abused in that situation, okay. But when Kathy is just venting in general, that's
totally different.
And to the point where she even said, oh, Lisa was lovely. She listened to me while I, flipped out. Like, so she wasn't directing it at you. So for you to then come around and say, I feel abused, what?
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
I was just sitting here like, so, because I listened, because let's just get into Kathy, because Lord have mercy. So her sitting here, I was like, what are we about to see? What are we about to see? The fact that Renna is standing on this soapbox of what she said was so dark. What she said was so dark. When you've not exited, any of those words have not moved from your Muppet mouth when it came to literally Erica verbally attacking Sutton, Garcelle, and Crystal. You have never said that. You've never sat here like, oh girl, you just removed her from the situation. Or
and how can you yell at Crystal for the same thing?
Exactly. It's like you didn't want Crystal to say something that y'all didn't agree with. It's like, what the hell? It's like, to a certain extent, I accept Kyle being a little bit mute, but not y'all bitches. It's like, why are y'all not calling out Renna on this? So the thing about it is like, I sat there going, wait a minute. She is sitting here talking as if Lisa Rinna is her friend. And I'm like, ah, that's why she felt so comfortable talking in front of Rinna because she thought Rinna was her friend. Rinna
Yep.
is a friend to no one.
Yeah. Yep.
She is a friend to no one. All of her friends that she's had on this show before she got on this show, they are not her friends anymore.
Nope.
None of y'all have wondered why that is.
Yep. I just find it interesting that like they were so insistent on Crystal saying what Sutton may have
What did she
said.
say? What is it? What
And
was so dark?
even though Crystal tried to explain that the whole moment, the whole conversation
Was
felt
dark.
dark, but we've talked about it, everything's okay now. They couldn't let it go. And see, this is when I say I'm not a blind loyalist to Kyle, this is what I mean. Because it is ridiculous how she was going after Crystal for that. But then in this situation, when it's her, she wants it just left alone. And I'm not saying I don't agree with her in this situation. Like, you don't want it brought out exactly what your sister said. You don't want to keep talking about it. Fine. But then respect Sutton and Crystal the same way when they say, we had a moment, we've talked it out, we don't want to talk about it anymore. Give them the same respect that you are demanding for you and your sister right now. And honestly, this is the one spot where at least Rinna's keeping that same energy, where she's demanding they say it, and she's demanding Kathy say it. And I think that that's part of it in this case, where she's like, listen, we don't get to protect some people and not protect other people's. And I think that even though she's being dramatic, I think that's why she's sticking to her guns. Because you know how it is when you know that person who gets away with freaking everything. Like everyone else gets in trouble and then that person does it and they get away with it. So I think on some level, Rinna's like, aha, this is solid. Like, I know this happened. This is something she cannot get away with this time, except she did, and she will continue to get away with it. And I think it burns Rinna up. And that's why she won't let it go. And, because like I said, they wouldn't let Crystal and Sutton get away with just saying it was dark. We talked about it. We're moving on. So if they're dragging it out of them, then it makes sense why she's like, we're going to drag it out of you too, Kathy. Yeah. But that's not how it works in this world, unfortunately.
It's not, especially when you're Kathy Hilton and you can literally like subpoena the footage, have a cease and desist. Because they're like, because I've heard people say, like, how come we didn't talk about this further? I'm like, does it have anything to do with the cease and desist? Because I feel like, I am I'm no lawyer, I'm no Craig Conover, but I feel like, if you have a cease or desist, I feel like you can't really talk and go too far into it's like, I feel like you can't talk about this. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I sound like Heavenly. I don't know, honey. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. As much as we wish the rules were the same, at the end of the day, they're not. Sorry, money buys you power, and that power you can utilize it. And when you have a ton of it, the rules just are not the same.
They change.
Yep.
They flip it and reverse it. So the thing about it is like, to watch Kathy get so activated as a friend of is literally the most interesting thing, because I watched Lisa not go too hard on another one of Kyle's sisters. She was like, I'm letting it go. You should have let it go before. Rinna, she thought you were a safe space, and you honestly are not. And that is what we are seeing. And the thing about it is like, so let's draw this down.
By the way, though, really quick, I have to say, I find it interesting that people constantly are saying how Rinna went after Kim, because if I remember that season, like Kim was they were going after each other, and like even that scene that we all talk about at the table where Lisa smashed the glass, I remember being so frustrated with Kim because her and Brandy were teaming up and they were doing this thing that I hate that people do, where they like throw out like, I know something, but I'm not going to say what it is. And so that's what they were antagonizing Lisa with. And that's what made her flip out. But I feel like everyone's just sort of forgotten that now that we're mad at Lisa, but like they were antagonizing, and I mean, she does it too. But in that situation, like Kim wasn't always a saint, and Kim did a lot of antagonizing as well.
So full disclosure, and I think a lot of people know this about me, I couldn't stand Kim Richards when she was on the show. Really? Whether she was inebriated or she was sober, I thought she was an asshole. I thought she was an asshole on camera. Really was. That is on period.
She is like she is like Kathy to me, where it's like she made me laugh. She had funny moments, but overall, I don't think she was great on the show either. Like she used to tell Brandy stuff that Brandy would then use against Kyle to have arguments with about personal stuff that only Kim would know. Like, thank you. I'm glad you felt that way too.
Yeah, because
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I like Kyle and that's why I have an issue with her sisters, but like I feel like people get really bamboozled by her sisters and then make her seem like she's the bad one. And sometimes I feel like, am I the only one seeing this? I'm glad you see it too.
Yeah, because the thing about it is like when it came to the whole Kyle and Kim thing, because I'm going to do a deep dive and rewatch Beverly Hills from the beginning. I've already watched the first episode, and it's like I had to stop and pause going, Kim wasn't friends with anybody on this show when she came in. She came in as Kyle's sister and coming to Kyle's events with Kyle's friends. I'm like, she did not really
Kyle
have relationships with that.
Yeah, so, remember how when Brandy first came in and Kyle was yelling at her with Kim to defend
that tag
her?
team was like,
Kyle
girl,
never stands up.
Don't get them Richard sisters activated because they'll hide the damn crutch somewhere, and then you got to be crawling around looking for a damn crutch. It's like, girl, it's like when they were on the same page, it was actually kind of scary how powerful they truly were together.
Exactly. That's the thing, is like they're like that together. And that's the thing that got me. We're way off topic, sorry, but I was gonna say, like, that's the thing that got me, is that like Kyle and Brandy had a horrible beginning because Kyle was defending Kim, and then Kim decided to become friends with Brandy and weaponize Brandy against Kyle. It's like, that's how you repay loyalty. Like, it's just,
and that's the thing. I think Kim and Brandy are not friends right now, so they're not talking again.
Yeah, I think they're not talking again.
Good for y'all. It's like, this is so weird, but it's like,
but it's hard with siblings. Like, people just don't, even the bestest person is going to be vicious with their sisters sometimes.
It's so
like, I think I'm a wonderful person, but if you get me mad enough with one of my siblings, like, we're not going to exchange words, and you get more emotional.
Correct.
At least for me, like, I literally spent like half a therapy appointment a few weeks ago crying because my sister and I haven't talked in weeks. And it's only like, we're not even mad at each other. She's just going through stuff, but I miss her. Like, I think like some of us are just also heightened emotions automatically when you introduce a family member to a situation.
Yeah, because a relationship with a sibling is so much deeper. Like, when they say blood is thicker than water, there is a reason.
Yeah,
it's like, it's so much more deep. So to watch this thing with Kathy, so let's also bring up Erica. The whole Kathy said a homophobic slur, and the only person who heard it was Erica, and that is inconclusive. So I'm glad somebody else, shout out to Zell from Who Asked Me Pod, where she pointed out, what's really funny? Erica could clearly just say it. It's so terrible, it gotta be bleeped out, but you flat out said it.
She did, and I think they bleeped it out, but at least she said it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I believe it because I've heard from multiple sources that it was said and that she hasn't been allowed to repeat it. Plus, again, if you know the history of the Richard sisters and if you know about Paris, like, it is not a stretch of the imagination at all to believe that she said that, but it's one of those things where they know that it's going to make them look a horrible light. Like, it's not really like back in the day where you can just laugh it off. People are going to call attention to it. And I think a lot of people love being willfully ignorant. So it's easier for them to say, like, unless I heard it, or, unless they definitively said it, people can deny it. And that's it's one of the things that I hate about the world right now is you can make up facts and also deny the truth. And it doesn't really matter. As long as there's someone to corroborate either side of it, it doesn't matter if it's a lie, you can run with it.
It don't matter. Because the thing about the fact that this is coming from Erica, because when this first came out, it was Kathy said it to Sutton's assistant. And then in the after show, Sutton was like, let me just clear this up right now. He wasn't even in Aspen. It's like, wait, time out. What the hell is going on? Why? Okay, so where did this come from? Now they're saying it's the DJ. I'm like, okay, so I'm no fancy Drew, but how come we haven't heard from anybody else? Where's the DJ?
That I heard that it was really shut down. Like, I heard papers were served, and people know. And this goes back to the money and the power of it all. Like, I heard papers were served allegedly, and people have literally been shut down from saying anything if they want to keep their jobs. And I wouldn't want to mess up. Like, there'd be no
No,
benefit in it for me to say anything, so I'd keep my mouth shut.
correct. Correct. It's like, the thing about it is that Erica's like, no, I have no reason to lie. Ma'am, you told us the weirdest story about some old man falling down a hill behind your house. You might want to hush. It was
Right.
like, what? It was like, I don't lie. Mm. Maybe you don't think like omission is lying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where we're operating out of. But it's like, why does it seem like we're going to take down Kathy Hilton? Like, why
Yeah.
would you want to take down Kathy Hilton? And
They
then
should
even
have
try
just
to put
let it
out
go.
there and go like she's jealous of Chris Jenner. It's like they actually are friends. Their kids are friends. Like I'm very
Yeah.
confused. What is going
Well,
on
I would
here?
believe that a little bit only because back in the day, yes, I was
Come
a
on back in
Paris
the
fan.
day.
I was a Paris fan back in the day. And like
Mm,
Paris really did kick off, not that she kicked off reality TV, but the whole being a celeb for just being a celeb thing, which I
mm-hmm.
mean, I was young and in high school and I was like, that's so funny. But
Oh,
before
that's
Kim,
so funny.
before Kim, there was Paris. There wouldn't really
That's
be a
very true.
Kim without
That's
Paris.
true.
And as much as people love talking about Kim's tape, for those of us who are in that world and aware of things, we
Child.
all knew about Kim before the tape.
Right.
The tape was a big deal because it was Kim, because we
Mm-hmm.
knew about her. If she was a
Mm-hmm.
nobody, no one would have cared about the tape.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I feel like for her, as Kathy, like if my daughter set this off, but now
Mm-hmm.
here's this family who's known for it all, but really it should have been my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And having Chris be in the position that honestly, if Kathy had played it right, Kathy would be the Chris. Kathy was
Mm-hmm.
really the original Chris. So I can understand why she would be a little bit salty.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean,
like the
that's true.
jealousy
That's
thing did
fair.
make sense to me. Like it made what she and that's the problem with all of it is like her rants made like what there wasn't a real stretch of the imagination to believe what Lisa was saying was true. I
Yeah.
don't doubt that she said it honestly, but what I do doubt is that she's ever going to admit to it and that it's ever
Mm,
going to be a bigger thing. So what Lisa needs to do is just let it go
that
because you're
part.
only hurting Kyle at this point and you're only making yourself look bad at this point.
It's like it makes you look so petty because,
Yes.
ma'am, what's in game for you to take down, quote unquote, and I'm putting quotes, take down your friend's sister? What
Mm-hmm.
is in game for you? What do you
Yep.
think? What do you think Kyle is supposed to do?
And in the words of my favorite, one of my favorite quotes by Prince, anybody who's trying to play me is just playing themselves. I cannot be
Okay,
played. You
because
know, and that's what's happening. That's what we're witnessing.
that's what
Brenna is just
we're
playing
seeing.
herself.
Because it's like she's like I am. It's like, and I will give Kyle this. I'm like, this is hurting me. That
Mm-hmm.
should have been in game, Lisa. If you literally care about Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
you would have let this shit go. I just keep it somewhere. Bring it out if you and Kathy had a falling out.
Yeah.
Essentially, y'all didn't. So why are
Mm-hmm.
you doing this? It's like, please don't do look over there because you don't want to heal from your grief. Don't,
Yeah.
Erica, don't look over there because you don't want people saying you're a raggedy heifer for like literally wanting to keep these earrings. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Grow the hell up. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yep.
That's the part. I'm like, you are making it like such a big deal. I'm like, oh, I'm like, why are people telling me? I'm like, because you're raggedy for keeping it. Like, I don't understand what is the disconnect here. And it was like, oh, she only said it to me. I'm like, so if she only, so Erica, you're the only
Mm-hmm.
one here. She only said it to you. How the fuck did it get out?
Right. That's the part.
That's like, you're
Um.
like, she only said it to me. I'm like, really? So how did we hear about this? Also, how did Sutton's assistant get into this?
Yeah.
What are you lying about? Because now you're trying to blame the publicist that worked with one of Kathy's daughters. I'm like, girl, wait. So you're trying to say that they did this on purpose? Are they a
Mm-hmm.
disgruntled employee? Y'all, you don't have a leg to stand on, Stumpy, because you don't want people saying shit about you.
Yep.
It's
I
like,
just
come
hate the
the
way
fuck
they use social
on.
media this season. Like it was really nasty, all the stuff that happened in social media, all these stories being alleged before it really leaked out. And like, if it
Mm-hmm.
had been something really juicy, maybe, but it wasn't.
Right.
So you just had a season of anticipation to lie flat and leave us disappointed. Like, I'd rather They keep it off of social media. I would love if they wrote into their contracts, you can't talk about this stuff
Correct.
until it airs. Like that would
Right.
make the viewing so much better.
So apparently there is some, and I saw this on the timeline, and I'm like, is this true? Apparently they get fined if they talk about each other on social media. I'm like,
Do
huh?
they? Do they? Because I feel like
It's
Rena would be
like,
out of a
what?
home by now.
And apparently that's the word going around. But then someone made a joke. Oh, is that why Giselle don't say nothing about her coworkers on social
No,
media?
because Giselle is smart.
It was like,
Giselle really
girl,
treats it like a job.
it's a job. She
Like she
clock in
doesn't
and
get
clock
that
out.
serious. She
Mm-mm.
clocks in, she creates her drama, she clocks out. She's
Right.
not sitting here on the things caring what any of us say about her.
Nope. Talk
She,
about my
if you're
neck,
gonna
talk
be a
about my
villain,
poor
be a
style,
villain.
my
Like
raggedy ass house. You go right ahead, girl.
exactly,
Anyway, the way this check is set up, it's clearing. So I don't care what y'all say.
exactly. Yep.
I'm like, what did y'all want Kyle to do? And it's like, as much as I'm like, Kyle is like, I'm looking at Kyle and it's like she looks defeated. Like, why won't they just shut up? It's like,
Yeah.
please stop. Y'all putting me in the middle. It's like, Kyle, you also wanted Kim to defend you against Brandy, which, by the way, she was dead ass right about. One, nobody should feel so comfortable to be shitty to your sibling.
Agreed.
Nobody. And it's like,
Agreed.
Kim wasn't necessarily wrong in that, but I noticed how Kyle was like, why are you not defending me? But then when Kathy and Kim say it to her, she's
Right.
like, well, what do you want me to do?
Exactly.
Fucking defend me. Defend me,
Yep.
bitch.
Yep.
What?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to try to defend her in those moments because you know that that's what she wants from them. But then at the same time, you know she's not defending them because she doesn't really, like we were saying before, she believes it. That's why she's not defending it. But
She's
then you can't get mad when they don't defend you. And I know she's a baby, but still,
she's
it's
the
like
youngest, and you can tell.
Yeah, you can, but you can't have it both ways. Like you either have to defend them no matter what. My thing is, if you're a good friend or family to the public, I've got your back. Now I may drag you behind closed doors and say what you did was wrong.
You don't know how bad it is between us. It's like nobody should know that.
Exactly. So like in this situation, even if I did think she was a liar, if my sister's sitting there saying I'm not a liar, I'm sitting there next to you saying she's not a liar and don't talk about my sister like that. Behind closed door, I'd be like, listen, you need to stop the lies. But like,
you know what?
To the public, I'm gonna have your back.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think the other issue with their relationship and why she seems very much like childlike is because there is a very big age gap between her and Kathy? It's like what, a whole decade? That's a long ass time.
Well, I think it's a mix of, so between me and my younger, I have older siblings. I mostly grew up with my younger siblings. So between me and my younger sister is 5 years and my brother is 7 years. And I'll be honest, we're all adults, we're all in our 30s now, but they're like my babies. You know, like I think of them as like my mini children, because when you're the oldest, you're also, you take care of them when your parents are gone, when your parents are working, like you have a sense of responsibility for them. But I think when their gap, and I remember when I went away to school, or I went away after college, like I felt bad, like leaving them. I felt like I was just deserting them, and I wasn't around for their high school and college years, or their high school and college years when they needed me. Like we're close again now, but I definitely felt guilt around it. But I think like with them having that 12-year gap, I think their dynamic is a mix of, because Kyle even said like her mom put it on her to take care of everyone. I think that on some level, Kyle probably resents that because she's the youngest. So why am I having to take care of it? And I'm sure she probably feels a level of abandonment from Kathy because Kathy left. Kyle was still very young when Kathy left. And then Kim had her alcoholism issues that it's, for the most part, it seems like Kyle has had to deal with more than Kathy has had to deal with. And so Kathy has also been able to be more friendly with Kim over the years because she hasn't been through the trenches with her like Kyle has. So I think that 12-year gap, like you mentioned, I think it plays a huge role in the dynamics of how she sees the relationship and how she kind of wants to be babied by her older sister, but then she's also like, why is it always my fault? Like you should be protecting me, but you don't. It's a mess. Sisters are a mess.
It's so it's so messy, and it's like that's why I'm sitting here like, Rena, this is why you need to shut the fuck up. In these moments with this, I miss Eileen Davidson because she would have been the first person to tell her, drop it. Drop it. It's like that was like her little let me say that was
How
her
dare
Robin
you?
Dixon. That was her Robin Dixon to say,
Yeah.
girl. It's like, because
Yeah.
when Eileen would not have sat there with that, it's like, you should have dropped it. Eileen wouldn't have discouraged this.
Mm-hmm.
She would have. And it's like, I mean, I feel like I'm giving her way too much credit, but
Well, I
I
think it
feel like
also like
she would
got
have.
out of hand on certain level.
Yeah.
Like, you know how we were saying, like, we think on some level Lisa thinks she's doing Kyle a favor. I
Mm-hmm.
think when it was contained to the group, Kyle
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like, okay. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
and if you saw it like with the finale, like once they realized they had gotten out
Of
in the
hand.
public, then Kyle started defending her sister more and
Yeah.
saying something. But I think when it was just the group and if it had stayed the group,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle was kind of okay with it. But I think that Lisa isn't picking up on the cues that now it's out and now she needs to really shut it down. So she's still acting like it's just in the group and it's not. So she's still thinking Kyle's okay with it. And clearly Kyle
She
is
is
not.
not. She looks visibly uncomfortable. It's kind of like if you see your friend visibly uncomfortable about a situation, it's like there is no part of you going, I might want to stop. I might want to
Right.
stop because
Yeah.
now, like Teddy has already let us know on Two Teas in a Pod, and I guess I can start listening again because it sounds like she is injecting some common sense
Did you
as
stop for a
opposed to she
while?
wasn't. I had stopped listening because at the beginning of Beverly Hills, Teddy was being Teddy and being ridiculous to me.
Mm.
And so I'm like, yeah, I'll check back in on Two Teas in the Pod when Beverly Hills is over. Because not for nothing, before Tamara got on the show and they were recapping Orange County, Tamara was extremely fair. Heather is her friend, and she was like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Heather. I'm like, she's going to be fair. And it's like, objective is not the word I want to use. Fair is the word I want to use because
Oh, are they? Because like I thought people were excited she was coming back because they wanted her to take down Heather, and I was like, no.
and I think it's because of how she was recapping the season because she
Uh,
was like, girl, what is happening? So that's why I think it's fair. And also,
mm,
but the beginning to the end of OC, she kind of softened on Shannon because, her and Shannon were not cool. And
yeah,
it's towards the end of the season, she's like, I feel it's like we're not even all that cool. And I feel so bad for Shannon right now. I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, by the end of Orange County, yeah, I can see it. So it's like if she can be that fair with somebody who she can't fucking stand, I'm like,
Yeah.
Tamara's fine with me. I'm glad she's back on the show. And it
I'm so
looks
glad Ultimate Girls Trip happened because I stopped watching Tamara because I could or OC because I couldn't stand Tamara. But
oh
like
my
now
God.
seeing her on Ultimate Girls Trip, like she's I'm warm to her again. Yeah, like I'm willing to give her another chance. It's been about a decade. I'm willing to revisit our friendship.
Can I just tell you, that's how I felt about like when Tamara left the show. I was like, oh yeah, because she got on my nerves because I was a Gretchen fan. Yeah, fast forward a couple seasons after, I'm like, they really need Tamara back and fuck Gretchen.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
I want her back on
Yep.
the show. I liked her on this podcast. I kind of like, I like her digging in Jill Zarin's ass, even though I want Jill back on the show. I like Jill for me is Roni, not Ramona. But no, y'all don't come fight me, okay? Don't come to me
Mm-hmm.
about Zarin versus Singer.
I'm Team Jill.
I was like, I miss Jill on the show. She
Me
is
too.
messy as hell, but I really did like when Tamara dug in her ass. I'm like, ooh, girl, this is meth, and I love it. So apparently Teddy is saying, like, the Fox Force 5, apparently that group chat is quiet because they're not texting each other. I'm like, this is what happened when y'all build your friendship on trauma bonding of trying to
Mm-hmm.
gang up on one person.
Right. Well, and I
That
think they
is
also
what
need to
happened.
acknowledge that they're not real friends. Like this is kind of what
Correct.
I love about some of the other casts, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will be like, I mean, there are some casts where they are actually friends, and that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But then
Mm-hmm.
there's other where they're like, these are my coworkers. Like I've come to work, we
Hello.
put in our hours. It's not that serious. We're not pretending like we're bosom pals,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that. And I
That's
wish they
it.
would keep that energy.
Please do, because this is like utterly ridiculous to me. It's like y'all are not real friends. It's like you can see the people who are real friends on these shows, and it's glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
Y'all not friends. Y'all really bonded because let's be very clear. Dorit couldn't stand Erica. Erica couldn't stand Dorit. Kyle damn sure did not like Dorit.
Right. And now they're
Dorit didn't
best friends.
like
I do
like
think their
Lisa.
friendship is
I'm
real
like,
though.
it's
Yeah.
real now because y'all had to work through it because like
Mm-hmm.
y'all were not friends.
Yep.
Oh, and also Camille, we don't want you back. Stay your raggedy ass on social media. Shut up, Camille. You're such a fucking liar, Camille. Sorry. I love Kyle for that because
Yeah.
Camille get on my damn nerves. I would love to
Mm-hmm.
see more of the morally corrupt Faye Resnick on my on my screen. Friend
Same.
of, I loved, but
I
girl,
think
we
she's
don't want you
smart enough
back.
to stay away.
Yeah, and to watch as you see, like, the TMZ video, I think also on BravoCon, where was Faye with Kathy? I'm like, I thought you would. Ooh.
Yeah, I saw that. It was interesting that she was with Kathy, and that you're talking about where they were talking on TMZ, right? Yeah, I was like, that's interesting.
Right, because they were like, is that, someone said this Mary Cosby? I'm like, is that the morally corrupt Faye Resnick? I feel like I can't just say is that Faye Resnick. I really can't do it. But
I mean, I guess she's friends with both of them, and that's the thing. It's actually exactly like you said. Like those Richard sisters, when they're together and on the same side, like it's almost scary how powerful they are. And I wish they would just squash the beef. Like from the beginning, I've always wanted a Richard sister show, but like a fun one. Like I don't want one with drama. I want to see them be goofy because I like Kim when she's goofy, and I like
her
Kathy,
and Kyle like getting along.
Yeah, I love them getting along. Like I would love a half an hour show of just watching them be funny. Like I would love that.
Talking about turtles, because let me just say this: when it was like watching what was happening, and I was like, as much as I'm like, nope, I don't need Kim Richards back. I'm like, nope. Kimberly, knock on the door. Bring your ass back on in here because I need y'all to come after Rinna. Because that's the thing. I've watched how Rinna can go back and forth with everybody. You can go back and forth with Denise. Denise should have flipped your ass right over the couch when you were in her face talking to her real crazy. I'm like, Denise, beat her ass right now. Who are you talking to? But I watched how Kim can break her down to tears in that 27-piece wig. And then you see Kathy saying, girl, the only reason why you bring this up is because your contract was coming up and you needed some drama. I said, but now we've said it.
But
now we've said it. I'm like, why are you at? I'm like, I'm sorry. Everybody else didn't think this too. I thought that's why she brought this up. Because it's like, ma'am, you don't want to talk about Lois, but then also mad, like, why Lois didn't get this? I'm like, girl, you were too busy making up shit to actually like give any part of your grief journey, which by the way, I'm not telling you that you should. It's like, oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say that at all. But it's like, why are you spent so much time trying to drum up drama again between Kyle and her sister? And when she said, so when Kathy did her impression of Lisa, I'm like, yeah, this conversation definitely happened. Oh, it happened. And I like that Kathy was like, I'm not going to say that I didn't say that, which is what, when she said, I gave Kyle what she wanted, I apologized to her on camera, which fair, because like, even though this didn't happen on camera, I feel like that is kind of the story that Kyle gives. It's like, I don't get public apologies from my sisters. I don't. It's kind of like we just talk it out in the weeds, and nobody knows that we like, so make it looks like I have to swallow so much. Please note, they're probably swallowing some shit with you too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So the fact that Kathy apologized, I'm like, And then she's like, she was not prepared when she said Rinna is on her way over and you owe her an apology. For what?
But like, she didn't say it like that though. Didn't she say like, Rinna's on her way over, if you want to talk to her? Like, I feel like she was saying, if you want to be here for it, great. If not, you can leave.
And that's the thing. Like, that's what I thought too. But when
then
she
Kathy
said that
made
she
it
was
sound
annoyed,
like she said you had to give it to her.
Right,
and I'm like, that's not how it went down.
I'm like, annoyed, because she was just like, Rinna's on her way over here. If you want to stay, fine. If you want to leave, that's okay too. So when Kathy said she was a little bit annoyed, I feel like I can understand why she's annoyed, but I'm like, if that was the case, you should have just left. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, she's on her way over here. We are good. I want to stick with us. Me and Rinna can talk at another time, because I would have left. I would have left. I'm like, I'm not doing this with Rinna, because one, why did she feel so comfortable saying Kathy has a dark heart?
Like, this is the thing, Rinna just went way overboard. And like, even if I'm mad at my sister, you're not going to say my sister has a dark heart. Are you kidding me?
Kyle, check in. I'm like, wait, Rinna, that's a little bit too far.
Right. And that's where I'm totally team Kathy on that one, because it's like, there were just things that did not need to be said that she said. And as a sister, even if we have our dark times, like, you should have shut that down.
So, and so again, she was able to say that Kathy abused her. It was abusive. Abuse does not have to be hitting someone. And then Andy said, you've yelled at screaming at people. And what did she say? So what the fuck you mean so?
And again, Kathy was not yelling at
She was
Rinna.
venting.
She was yelling. She was venting.
That is so different. Unless she's screaming at your face, bitch, I will fuck you up. You mean like how your buddy Erica was? Where they're like literally half the cast right now?
Like,
ma'am,
Erica abuses everyone.
But you ain't doing that. I'm like, ma'am, you smashed the whole, even though you and Kim were arguing, baby, you sent Kyle screaming from a table in Amsterdam because you busted up glass in her face. Let's be very clear. That couldn't have been Stephanie, because I swear me and Lisa Rinna would have been tussling. I'd have ripped that silicone off out of her lips. Like, don't you ever in your life. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, Kyle, where the fuck are you going? Why are you outside?
She's running away. It's that anxiety. It's that like
Kyle, where, ma'am, hello. This woman, like, did you check on your sister? You see if there's glass in her face? I was screaming. I'm like, why is she outside? That would have been funny. But see, this is what happened. Remember the show The Soup?
Yes.
Oh my God. When they did the stuff with Housewives, I said, this is kind of funny.
It is. It's like, it's not funny, but it is funny.
It's right.
But I do have to admit, like, when we have conversations about stuff like this, even though we're laughing, it does bother me, like, when people say, like, oh, Rooney got real dark because of Ebony, because they talked about racism, and I come to the show for lighthearted stuff. Lighthearted stuff like victims dying on plane crashes, and like what lighthearted stuff are we really getting into
what are y'all talking
on
about?
The other shows? Like, it's all dark. It's just maybe you don't care as much, but I always found that argument very ridiculous.
Because it is. I was like it's gotten so dark. Wait, now it's
Puppygate was pretty lighthearted because it was stupid.
Puppygate, the whole thing with Russell Armstrong, it was like,
right.
Girl,
we dealt with domestic violence, like that was dark. Like, what are you talking about?
We had a whole addiction. It's like, girl, where are y'all getting this from? I'm like, it got so dark, and it's like that is because Kathy called Rinna on her shit, and it got dark because y'all didn't let the biggest gaslighter who tell everybody else they gaslighting. She basically doused her. And it was like, girl, I just wanted Kathy to make her cry. I didn't want to see Kyle crying for literally like 45 minutes. And the fact that Kyle was like, girl, fuck this thing. Can I leave? Right. Can I be excused from the class? I got to go to the bathroom. It's like, what do you want to do? Kyle's is a wreck.
But you can even see it, even in the fact that Kyle is what? In her 50s, the fact that she was like, can I be excused? Whereas anyone else would have just walked off.
Ramona would have
Teresa would have
got her ass up and left. I am out. See y'all later.
Right.
Other people have literally just got up the couch.
Other people have literally walked
Kyle
off.
Has never left the couch.
I have to get permission, because that's what it is. Like, it's a mix of that anxiety and that younger, like that people pleasing thing too, where she wants to leave, but she needs someone to give her permission to do it. And I mean, I know it's hard for people to watch if they don't have that mentality, but I think that's why I've always given her grace, is like, I get it, but you can also work past it, because I've been working past it. Like, I in the back of the day would have been like, can I be excused? Now I don't care what you think, I'm walking away. So I think that after watching the show for so many years, I think people are kind of like, okay, Kyle, we get it, but also maybe you can identify and work past it.
And then I'm not sure why Kyle was sitting here like, it's done. I'm like, you're not done. You're not done. It's like, the thing about it is, Kathy can set a boundary of saying, I don't want to talk about this right now. Because it's something deeper between you two. This does not need to be on camera. Y'all can actually just talk about it another way. It's like, don't do it. And Dorit, shut the fuck up. It's like,
I do also think that she knew Kathy wouldn't talk to her about it if she wasn't forced to.
Correct.
Because again, she didn't talk to her for 10 years before. And then we saw on the reunion at the end of it, it said they didn't talk again until BravoCon. BravoCon was 2 weekends ago. They filmed that months ago. So the fact like that between
at least 3 or 4 weeks before BravoCon, I thought.
At least. So I think she knew that if she didn't get her sister to speak about it then, they weren't going to speak about it. And clearly that's what's happened if they haven't spoken until they saw each other on stage at BravoCon.
Yeah, and apparently, I think it was Kim's daughter who was pregnant. They did a baby shower, and all the cousins were there. But apparently, Kyle wasn't at the baby shower. But apparently, they all planned it together. I'm like, maybe she was busy filming another Halloween movie. Oops, nope, no, she wasn't. Those Halloween movies are over.
They're done.
So the thing about it is like there's gonna be trepidation on both sides. where it's like Kathy's like, we can talk this out, but I'm not talking it out on no show. I'm not doing
Right.
this. I'm gonna give my sister the apology that she said she never gets. And I'm like, no, because what? Because I think also because Kathy apologized because she knows what she said was shitty. She did not
Right.
walk back and say, oh, I ain't never say that. The only thing she did
Right.
not say, and she said, nope, never ever, was what Erica alleged that she said.
Right.
When allegedly could have just said the F word.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I almost wish that like, which I know is hypocritical because I'm still all for Candy staying on the show, but I feel like Kyle should let it go. Like, I think that she thought maybe it would be a saving grace with her and her sister, like it was last year. It brought them together, but here we are with them ruining their relationship. Again, the show ruining another relationship. Like, stop trying to make fetch happen. You and your sisters should not be on these shows together unless you do your own show where it's not drama based, where it's known from the beginning there isn't going to be fueling drama. It's just you guys having fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really feel like it's kind of, and again, I'm a Kyle fan, but I feel like it's time for her to walk away from the show. Like, there isn't really much she can still give us.
I
And
don't know
she's
what
been on
else.
the show
What other
so
story
long
does
now
she
that
has
she's
to
a
tell?
villain.
It's like,
Right.
if you don't have no story, I'm like, we can turn the page on Kyle. I'm like, I like Doogie. She's the most alpha beta I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's like there's
It's
just
okay.
she's
Because
just
Kathy
she's
not
been
coming
on so
back.
long, she's a villain now.
If Erica and Lisa are there, Kathy is not coming back. And they kind of
Right.
probably want one of them. She's gonna want one of them back, so one of them is going to have to go. I have a feeling it's going to be more Renna than anybody else, even though Erica is lodging this accusation and they say it's inconclusive. I'm like, yeah, if they're talking to each other, it is inconclusive. Unless somebody was there with them or y'all with
Right.
Mike, there's nothing you can do. Apparently, they're like, they did an investigation. Who? HR? Really?
I don't trust Bravo HR to investigate anything, so
It's like, girl,
we
what
know
you
how their
mean?
investigations go.
You're like, is he say, is she say, she say? I'm like, yeah, if Erica's saying she only said it to her, of course it's gonna be she say, she say. And it's like, no one's gonna say, oh yeah, I said that. The only thing she's like, like the stuff that she said, that Lisa said she said, Kathy did not deny that. But she, it's kind of like she said, they're like, girl, I thought we were cool. We're not. So when Kathy said you should take a lie detector test, that made me laugh because they don't marry to men. Like, that is not admissible in court. Are we in court right now?
Nope.
It was like, no, I just want to see if you're fucking lying. And when she told Erica, I think I have a little bit more credibility than you. When I saw Garcelle smirk, I said, okay, so we all heard that, right? Okay, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure we all heard that. Because I was like, Kathy, step on her. Erica is like, that's the thing. Lisa been living too high on a hog when it comes to this show for quite some time. And it's like, Yolanda is gone. Kim is gone. Denise was not going to do it, and she should have fucking did it. Brandy is gone. Step on her, because Lisa been coasting a little bit too longer. And the person I really want her to step on her is Kyle, and it's going to take something else for them for that to happen. Kyle is just like, I can't move. I'm shaking because I can.
In a perfect world, I would love to see Kyle switch to the Garcelle, Crystal, and Sutton side.
Okay.
Like, that would make me so happy, but I don't see it happening. So I'd rather just have her off the show instead of continue to be on the show as a villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love it if she would sort of switch to their sides.
Yeah, because it's like Garcelle has been a better friend in this reunion and towards the end of the season to Kyle than those bitches. And it's like, even though Dorit is like trying to be a friend, where she look like, Dorit, I'm trying to talk to your sister. Why the fuck you not saying that to Renna? Bitch, fuck you. No, if you gonna let your friends interject, do not shut Dorit up.
Well, plus like, Kyle interjects all the time, and he like that's what got her in trouble with Garcelle. Like when Garcelle and Diana were having their moment in part 2 or whatever, I get that Kyle was just trying to like, oh, let me explain. But first of all, you should be happy that no one is involving you. Like, if we're going to talk about your anxiety, I would be happy that I was not part of that conversation. I would not interject myself in it. And basically, what she did is what Dorit was trying to do for her. So again, don't do it to other people if you don't want it done to you. Like, if you don't want people to try to straighten out your communication, then let them as adults straighten out their own communication as well.
Yeah, because it's like, Kyle, you're going to have to sit with the fact that your friend Renna, your alleged friend, said your sister is dark-hearted. She called her the devil, a fucking monster. She's abusive. I'm like, You said
It's too
nothing
far.
to this woman. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, Renna, don't say that about my sister. Why are you calling her dark-hearted? Because you damn sure never said that about Erica. You
Right.
have not said that about anybody else. You're only saying it about Kathy. Why is
Yeah.
that? Because when she got on that show as friend of, you are so kissing her ass because you did not want her to cuss you out because of what you did to Kim. And honestly, Kathy should have. Kathy should have said, let me tell you something. I don't appreciate what you did to Kimberly. I don't appreciate what you did. Just know, do not do that. Do not fuck with my sister Kyle. Do not fuck with me. That should have been the boundary because it's like I watched Renna. She was kissing her ass.
Oh
my
yeah,
God,
even in
Kathy
like the car,
Hilton.
right?
I'm like, girl,
Even in the
please.
car on the trip, she was like, "Oh, you're Kathy Hilton. Why wouldn't they let you in?" Like the thing is, Renna is very like money struck and starstruck, even though she doesn't want to admit it. It's like but at the same time, she resents it. That's her problem. She's not like some people can see people have things that they would like or aspire to and be like, good for them. I hope I get mine someday. But there are some people who see it who are like, I hate that they have this thing that I don't want. And
you're
I think
so
that's
jealous
how
of
Renna
Kris
is.
Jenner. I'm like,
yes. And I think that that's how Renna is because, and that's also why she assumes that people think the same way she does. But like with Sutton, because when Sutton came in, she was so friends with Sutton because Sutton was so super rich. But then she turned on Sutton because she actually resents that richness. And then with Kathy, Kathy, she's the Kathy Hilton. But the minute she can, she turns on Kathy because she resents the power she has.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like for you to say like you're probably jealous of Kris, I'm pretty sure you're jealous of Yolanda. Because her kids stroke gold. Yours, but on the other hand, very sweet girls, creepy pictures with Harry Hamlin. Girl,
I just saw that.
It was like,
why?
Ew, this is gross. This is very sugar babyish, and that's her whole biological father. Now I have questions. Now I have some questions. Like, is that his? Okay, you know what? Nope, I won't do it. And I love that Kathy. Not that I love this, but I like how honest Kathy is because she was like, because Kyle can say to Lisa, this hurts me. You know what else I'm glad Kathy said? This hurts me that you're not standing up for me. To a certain extent, she did it at that dinner, but this woman has called me all of these things and you are barely saying anything and only saying it from, this hurts me when you talk about my sister. How about you say, stop talking about my sister? Because we also are kind of ignoring the fact that it's been said that Erica's publicist is the one who put this story out. And it was like, we totally glossed over that. It was like, who did an investigation and who found that out? Was it Bravo HR? Because I don't think it was. Bravo HR.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm fully with Kathy on the side of wanting my sister to protect me. And even if, like for me, even if on some level Kyle's like, I know she's a liar, I know that's like, there's no way, I mean, I don't think anyways, that I would be okay with someone saying my sister had like a dark heart. Like, even if she had screamed at me, even if I was pissed at her, like, you're not going to attach that title to her. Like, that's ridiculous.
Not. Yeah, the whole carcasses out
so
thing
I
is
totally
also
understand why Kathy is super upset in that moment because I sure as hell would be.
Yeah, because she was like, because one, Kyle did kind of martyr herself. So I get why. And it was like, is it harsh? Yes. Because you're sitting here like, I'm the one that's hurt. I'm like, Kathy's not hurt.
Right. Kathy's the one who has a reputation in the mud.
She was so open and vulnerable in front of Lisa Rinna, and then she threw it back in her face. I'm like, oh girl, I'm sorry, I would never talk to Lisa Rinna unless I'm mic'd up and or in the presence of other people.
Yep.
Like, oh no, I would never have a private conversation because Rinna, if you're so worried about Kathy's mental state, why the fuck didn't you say something to Kyle? Why are you giving the running commentary of what's happening to Erica?
Because that's the thing. If you really think someone's having a psychotic break, that's how you're going to handle it.
And apparently,
please don't be around me if I have a psychotic break.
House. That's the other part. Mauricio, you didn't knock on Mauricio. Right. It's like nothing. But you're so
that's almost more troubling that if you really either you're lying and you're exaggerating, or you really thought she was having that psychotic break and you handled it very badly. But like it was wrong.
Right. It's like, girl, like you didn't no. if you really are concerned, I was like, that's why I was like, if what you're saying is true, what happened in the house, how did Mauricio sleep through all this?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have like earplugs? Was he that high? I'm like,
Probably.
girl, what are y'all telling me? But also,
Right.
if you were concerned, why didn't you go get him?
Yeah.
He was in the
That part.
house. It's like, girl, what? Oh, gosh. But that means, so it sounds like we can close the door on the book on this season of Beverly Hills. There's
Mm-hmm.
been rumors that one of the Fox Force 5 is not coming back, Lisa. We shall see, because she said, put me on pause. You know,
Right.
Dorinda didn't ask to be put on pause.
And
They
I don't think
just
Dorinda
did.
needs to be honest.
Yeah, no, bring her back. She's fine. It's like,
Yeah, Dorinda's
that
been one of those
last,
people who I don't like. I don't love, but I don't hate her. And despite while I know people want to only watch people they like, but you need
mhm.
people you don't like.
You
You
need
need
a
a
good
foil.
mix. You
That's
really
how you
do.
have a good storyline. So my basis is like whether I cannot stand them enough,
Yeah.
but still deal with them. And that's Dorinda for me. Like I don't, she's not great. Not Dorinda, Dorit. That's Dorit for me. Like she's not wonderful, but she's a good villain when needed.
She's the same for me, because I was like, I did not like her. I didn't enjoy her. I enjoyed her fashions. And then
Yeah.
she started talking more, and I'm like, oh girl, please leave me alone. And then it was like, I'm like, Tariq can stay, it's fine. She gets on my nerves sometimes. I did not like her loud talking Garcelle. I was like, who the fuck is she talking to?
Oh,
It's
yes.
like,
Hmm.
who's that? So it's like, for the most part, they all can come back except Rena and Erica. They both can go. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. What's the story we need to talk about with Erica? Nothing. She can go.
I mean, I want to see her triumphantly come back, but
Mm,
it's like I wish she hadn't been such a bitch about it so we could
correct.
feel better about it. You know what I mean? Like
Correct.
I think if she hadn't, we would all be cheering her on. She's starting over. She is a victim in this situation, but she's been so horrible about it that people forget that. Like she was married to this guy. Like her world came crashing down as well. Whether
Correct.
she had a little bit more notice than she wants us to believe, and that's why she
Mm-hmm.
filed for divorce is a different case. But at the end of the day, her world still came crashing down. She's still having to recreate a whole new life for herself in her 50s that she thought she was past from her 20s. So, like, it would be good to see her starting over, making this new life. Like, I want to cheer her on, but she's been so horrible. It's hard to be like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay. It's like the thing about, I feel like if she turns a page and stop acting like I am the true victim here, you're not.
Right,
That's just so ridiculous to watch. I'm like, I get defending yourself, but in a
mm-hmm,
way, it's the way that you're doing
right,
it. It's like
right,
I am benefiting from something, and you gotta have to sit with that. So when she was tearing up and wearing waterproof mascara this
right.
time, I was like, okay. It's like,
And it's like,
I get
listen,
it.
like, yes, you are starting over, but you're not like, she is a victim, but she is not the victim, right?
Correct.
Like, she is not the biggest victim in this situation. And yes, she's starting over, but like her version of nothing with that beautiful house and still having her assistants and still doing all that is very different from other people's version of really starting over. So I think if she would just like humble herself a little bit, which she won't do because she's the ice princess, but if she did humble herself a little bit and acknowledge things, then I think people would be back in a spot of wanting to cheer her on more.
Yeah. Yeah. So we shall see what happens. BravoCon is wrapped up. This 3-part reunion, which part of me is like, could we have done 2 parts? No, 3 parts is fine, because I feel like I
Yeah.
wanted more parts just so
At
Kathy
least they
could
didn't
cuss
do
out Lisa Rinna.
four. You're right.
Four
Oh,
is
so
very
who do you
hard
hope
unless
comes
you
back?
got enough stuff for 4.
Right.
It's like I
So
feel
who do
like
you
that
hope comes
didn't.
back?
Hope I come back. Oh gosh, my trio, Garcelle, Sutton, and Crystal. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's so much more to Crystal's story that we could get, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just eclipsed by the foolishness of the Fox Force 5. But those 3 apparently, Sutton is like no more for me, and Garcelle's like I've had enough, and I'm like I don't like hearing this.
Right.
But yeah, Sutton can come back, because I'm like, I want to see more of Sutton. I want to see how Garcelle does. Maybe we can get some of like her touring for her book, because her book is out.
Yeah.
See more of Crystal, actually dig more into why Crystal loves doing craft drinks and why she's always drinking. And also, can we get some more stuff with Rob Minkoff? I'm like, I feel like there's more that we could talk.
Yeah.
Dorit, friend of for Dorit, is like, I don't there's girl, we don't care. I'm like, I really am like that. And it's like, as much as Kyle get on my nerves, I wouldn't mind. It's like, I feel like Kyle can come back, but also I hope they find a way to bring Vanderpump back. I would love Vanderpump back as much as I'm like, I didn't love her. And well, actually, no, I like slash love Vanderpump. I would love to see her back. I don't want Camille back. I would love Maloof Hoof back, but I want some different rich ladies in Beverly Hills who are not actors.
Yeah.
There's so many rich women in Beverly Hills. Please bring them. Cherie don't need to come back. She can stay.
Yeah. No, she can stay.
She can stay wherever the hell she is. Go on vacation with Will. Do not come back and film. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I've never thought that this was going to be a long-term assignment for Garcelle. I thought that she was going to pop in, get her name back out there, and get back to doing what she loves, which is exactly what she's done. So while I don't want to see her, while I enjoy her and would like to see her on the show, I think it would be smartest for her to end it now. Because you know what they say, if you stay long enough, you'll become the villain. And already this season, we've seen people being like, well, Garcelle's an instigator too, Garcelle. So it's like, all right, Garcelle, you don't need them to turn on you. Like, leave while they're still chanting your name, which I know is the hardest time to leave, right? Like, everyone loves you. That's the hardest time to leave, but that's exactly when you should leave. So she should just exit and go graciously do her thing. Sutton should stay. I think Sutton is like the ultimate type of housewife. Like, she is so like oblivious, but like, so she's real,
Clumsy
right? Like,
with
she's
her
not
words.
faking
I love it.
She's not trying to craft an image. She reminds me a lot of Alex McCord from New York. Yeah, I would love more of those types of housewives, but I already know Bravo is trying to lean younger, so they're probably bringing some younger ones. But
so who do you want to stay from this season?
I want Sutton to stay. My heart wants Garcelle to stay, but my brain wants Garcelle to leave. I want Crystal to stay. I'm with her. I think she still brings a lot. Dorit can stay because I don't know. She doesn't. Whatever. Erica, I think, can stay as well. Just because I want to see this journey of hers continue. You know, like we saw the different stages. Like we saw her. Like this was like the drunken hot mess stage. I'd like to see what stage she goes into next. I think Kyle should be a friend of. I think she should pop in for the fun times and leave before the drama gets going. And I think Rena's been a good villain, but I'm ready to see her exit as well. Diana definitely shouldn't come back.
Absolutely. Girl, I mean, grand opening, grand closing on that lady. The fact that we didn't spend too much time talking about her was extremely great, because I should have known the writings on the wall when you didn't see her on Watch What Happens Live ever, and she wasn't on the after show. I was like, now I understood why Rena wasn't on the after show, because it's kind of like, she's still grieving with her mom, so it's kind of like the only person that I'm like, I can understand like an excused absence was Rena. Diana was different. I'm like, wait, why is she not on any of these live shows?
Right.
It was like it's super, super, super weird. Yo, stop doing things, computer. Sorry. Stop doing things, computer. But Beverly Hills next season. Let's see how this goes, child. But
it'll be interesting.
Very. Nyemade, thank you. I am so glad you're fine. I was like, how has she not been on the show before?
No, I am glad. I've been wanting to chat with you on your show.
It was like, oh my gosh. Because it's like, I'm like, with the third part being about Doogie, I'm like, no, I need somebody to come on here. Because one, I will give it to you. You are very fair when it comes to Kyle. You're a fan that is fair. I feel like I'm a fair fan that's fair.
You are. And that's why I don't mind talking. So I have to say, Kyle made a post about like, this was a hard season and I've learned and blah, blah, blah. So I left a comment in my voice as I will, like, you're right, it was rough being your fan, but I appreciate you, learning and growing. And it's just like the heat I get from both sides. Like some people are like, oh, that was good. And then like people are messaging me like, oh, she didn't need to be called out for anything. She was great. And then other people are like, oh, she doesn't give a damn. She doesn't care. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be in the middle. You leave me alone. Like, stop trying to make me force one way or another. Like I can feel the way I feel, but it's hard having that stance because you really do get heat from both sides.
Yeah. So Before we get out of there, please tell everybody how they can find you. They can find your show on YouTube where we talk about all the things that is Bravo and any of your social medias.
Yes, you can find me on most social platforms. I'm That African Butterfly. My main hub, if you will, is Instagram. If you go there, you can get to my link tree, and that will take you to the pages of my Bravo show, which is Bold, Black, and Addicted to Bravo.
Yes.
I do episodes each week where we talk about different life stuff, but through the lens of Bravo. Because, there's things that you want to talk about, but you don't always know the same people. And I love that Bravo is a unifying force. So, like, if we want to talk about, like, adopted children or relationships with parents, we can talk about it through the lens of Bravo's shows. And we also do fun recap episodes as well whenever a season ends. So you can find that in my link tree. I also do a lot around the area of mental health. So there's the link tree to those shows as well. So find me on Instagram, That African Butterfly.
Thank you so much, Nyemade. Well, folks, we have recapped Beverly Hills. We're probably going to get some new crop of shows. I already saw the sneak peek of the premiere of Family Karma because Bravo put it on last night. I'm like, wait, what? I was like, what do you mean? I thought, like, you know how they do like I guess, How Did They Get Here? Or maybe like a preview. It was the whole season premiere. And I went, oh, we're getting the whole thing. I'm like, some dynamics have changed, girl. And again, I am someone who is a fan of Anisha, and I feel like I'm gonna have to go to bat for my girl, but I'm gonna be fair. It's like, I don't care if you move to Tucson, Vishala's still your friend. You do not RSVP 2 days before a wedding.
Right. Yeah.
It's an extravaganza, honey.
To see, so because I have to, which is crazy. I have to catch up on last season, and I don't know what was going on that I didn't watch it because I love Family Karma, but I never finished watching last season, so I'm gonna have to catch up.
Okay. Oh yes, please do, because that little Watch What Happens Live episode, I'm like, this is why they deserve a reunion. Because Monica and Anisha were about to like knock down, drag out, and my bestest friend Bali is back. So,
I don't know why they don't get a reunion. They need one,
and they need one. After that episode, Watch What Happens Live, I'm like, y'all, this is why they need a reunion because we need to hash all of this out. All of it. But guys, I will be next week. Folks, have a great night. Thank you for listening to the Mocha Minutes podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.